All right, so covering that real quick, hopefully it was simple for you. If not, that's okay. So here we have sine, cosine, and tangent of both angle A and angle C. So when we have angle A, our opposite side is the 8. So this is our opposite. Our adjacent side is the other leg. And the hypotenuse, of course, is the longest side. So remember, sine from SOHCAHTOA. Oh, it's written down at the bottom. I forgot. Never mind. Sine is opposite and hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse means that this is going to be 8 over 17. 17 is prime, so that's not going to simplify. For cosine, that's going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. Our adjacent side is 15. Hypotenuse was 17. Again, 17 is prime, so that's not going to simplify. For tangent, that's going to be opposite over adjacent. And that's going to be 8 over 15. Neither of those is prime. However, there's no common factors of them, so that is what it is. Now, for angle C, things change. What was our adjacent is now the opposite, and what was our opposite is now the adjacent. Our hypotenuse stays the hypotenuse. It's still the longest side. So for sine, again, that's opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be 15 over 17, which is what we got for cosine for angle A. Cosine for angle C is adjacent still over hypotenuse, but now our adjacent side is 8 over 17 for our hypotenuse, which was what we got for sine for angle A. For tangent for angle C, still opposite over hypotenuse. That doesn't change. Sorry, opposite over adjacent. I wrote the right thing, said the wrong thing. Opposite over adjacent means that we have 15 over 8, which again doesn't simplify, but there we go. We have our trig ratios. So now when we're looking at finding what to do with these with the calculator, there's a couple different ways to approach it. So of course with Desmos, that's the easiest way to go because it's a web-based calculator that you can pull up on just about any device. You have to go into the functions button, and on the trig tab, which is the first tab, you have all of our trig functions. And in that first row, those are the standard form trig functions. Of course, the 3 we're looking at are the first 3. Now, if you are looking at the blue version of Desmos, those bottom 3 do not show up, so keep that in mind. But we won't really be using those right now anyway. So sine, cosine, and tangent, the top 3 in the first row in the first tab. So thankfully, that makes things easy to find. Functions button, first 3 on the first tab. Now, there is one thing we have to be careful of. We need to make sure our calculators, no matter what calculator you use, is in degree mode. If it's not in degree mode, if it's in radians, you're going to get the wrong answers. So always check that when you first turn your calculator on, if you know you're going to be doing things that require you to be in degree mode. If you're using your iPhone calculator, that can also have a degree mode. If you turn your iPhone sideways, the bottom left corner, there's a button that says rad. If you want to turn it into radians, you click that button and it'll turn it on to radians. And then that button will turn into a DEG button. You click that button again, and it'll turn back into degree mode. And it lets you know which mode you're in. When you click the button after it said rad, there will be a little tiny rad part that goes up onto the top part of where you punch in your numbers. For any TI calculator, it just varies depending on which TI calculator you're using. If you're using the Inspire, you have to go into the calculator settings. If you're using anything less than that, like an 84, 83, it's in the settings as well, but there's a different process to get into the settings for that. So we'll take a look at this problem.